Okay, so I'm gonna be doing the second and third question, and the second question is using the video and assigned reading to support your perspective. Describe the typical punishment for a first-time drug offense in the United States. So that's what I'm gonna cover first. The I did a little bit of research into this because the video and the chapter kind of gave like kind of a vague description of it. I thought, and what I found is that for cocaine, heroin, and other penalty group like Group One, they call it's like all in a group, and I think that's kind of the more serious stuff. So I don't know what like marijuana or something like that would be on, because if it's kind of on the lesser side, I don't know if they would put that on like a Group Two or something, but the range of penalties for something like that would be like if it's like less than 1 gram, it would be a state jail felony with possible punishment of up to I think 2 years in jail and a fine of up to $10,000. So you count that with all your legal fees and like with trying I guess if you made bail or something like that, you'd be like in very deep stuff because that is a lot of money and a lot of time too. I mean, you're out of work for 2 years and you have that on your record probably, and you have to pay a $10,000 fine on top of that. Like that's pretty bad. Uh, at first degree, which is an enhanced felony, it's punishable up to 10 to 99 years in prison and a fine of up to $100,000. So that's like 200 to like 400 grams, which is a lot. But that's like for that'd be more of like a drug dealer kind of thing. Like if you have an intent to sell, like if they catch you with like scales or something like that, they could get you for like intent to sell, especially if you have that much on you. Like yeah, that I mean that kind of makes sense. But I don't think it should be 10 to 99 years in prison. Like if you're running like a drug warlord thing, then yeah, that makes sense. But like I don't know, 10 to 99 years and $100,000. Like if you were to try to like get clean or something, or if you were to like try to even just pay for all that your entire life would be ruined just from that one mess up. And then so how this compares to other countries, what I found, and especially in the chapter, they covered this pretty well. In the video, I still thought it was kind of vague, but so for like the UK, the first time you're caught in possession of a small amount for any drug for personal use, you may get a formal citation, which would be like it's almost like a parking ticket kind of. I don't know if it would be like as much as a parking ticket, but cautions are dealt with at like the police station, so you could just like driving like it would be done with. But you have to admit that you're guilty of the offense. So you can't like deny that you had it and then like get a citation for it. Like if you deny it, then you'd probably have to go to like a trial or something. But and then it's not a conviction, but they put it's recorded as a part of your criminal record. So it would almost be like if you got like a really expensive speeding ticket, sort of, and can't affect your education, getting a job and traveling anywhere, which kind of makes sense if it's like big, but so yeah, so that's just kind of how it's compared. So obviously the U.S. is pretty intense about it, and they're pretty serious about it, which dating back to all the like those acts that were signed in like '84 and '86 to go against like the war on drugs. I think it was on page 243 or something like that. But all that stuff that was pretty intense and ended up being targeted almost racially because they would kind of target the more low income, different race and different ethnicity neighborhoods compared to the white neighborhoods. But and then for the third question, which was according to our authors and the concept of institutional racism, explain why police may target low income neighborhoods where people of color live rather than higher income white neighborhoods. So what I looked at in the book, obviously they target it because they know that that's you can make a lot of money off of drugs and stuff like that. So they kind of target that area because they know that finding the economy and the kind of job markets in those areas are not very good strictly because of the income. So they can't really dig themselves out. So there's a lot of kind of weird ways that's you can make money. So they kind of target that area more. Um, but there's also a study. I think it was done by the Community Health Sciences, and it was between like 2013 and 2017. Um, and it was from the mapping, like a map of like police violence, like a graph, and then ran that along 5 key indicators of systematic racism. So that dates back to that was a few chapters ago. I forget which one it is, but uh, and they also talked about racial segregation, which was I think like 2 chapters ago. But the worst that African Americans are doing on those like 5 fronts, which is I think it's um, segregation, incarceration rate gaps, educational attainment gaps, and the economy disparity index, and employment disparity gaps for like each state. And the worse that African Americans are doing on those 5 fronts, compared to white people, the higher the states score on what those researchers would call like a state racism index. And if a state scores high on those five, like those 5 factors, the like all the gap, there's a lot of gaps, uh, and also happens to have a higher per capita rate of unarmed African Americans shot and killed by police, then structural racism serves as a like an explanation for like all the police violence in those selected states. So that's kind of my answer to the third one. But the effects of this obviously is mass incarceration rates from this chapter, and in the beginning of the chapter when it talked about how there was like 3/4 of people who are incarcerated and in prisons are it's like petty drug charges, something like that, and then like non-violent crimes. So obviously, it's pretty intense. But yeah, so that's it.